And that was before this like wheeze fest that we saw of Ron DeSantis. But I will.
I'd call him Weezer as a nickname, but it's besmirching the band, so I'm not.
Yeah, and they are terrible now. So like that's how bad Ron DeSantis is. It's like we won't even slam Weezer now. Jesus, everyone does. So we don't need to beat those guys up. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
What's up?
All right, guys. We're back. First episode of 2022. The year of variance? I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, look, Ron DeSantis definitely does not have COVID, guys, right now. Don't pay no attention. Pay no attention to that wheezing video that was posted of him speaking at an event today.
Dude, my boy did not look good. He did not look good.
Does not have coronavirus. Like curiously missing for 2.5 weeks. No one knew where he was, and then people were like, "Oh, where's Ron DeSantis?" And they're like, "Oh, look, we posted a picture of this bagel place that he was at this morning." And like, you posted that same picture on Facebook 9 days ago. Like, what is this? Like, can you hold up a copy of today's newspaper, Ron DeSantis, in this picture to show that you're truly alive?
It's like, dude, why do you have long hair like you were listening to Metallica? This picture's from 1985, Ron. Like, what are you doing? No, yeah, he didn't look good, man. He didn't. He certainly didn't sound well.
You know what's insane?
Gasping for air.
Like, the better off we'll be. So today, I'm proud to be awarding $6 million to build infrastructure that will connect southern Osceola County to the emerging Neo City Technology District. This district is already home to 6 companies, including Skywater Technology, a U.S.-owned and operated semiconductor foundry. While this award will support nearly 5,400 jobs, Osceola County officials estimate that this could lead to tens of thousands of jobs once it's fully developed as Osceola County continues to grow.
Anyone that wasn't a smooth-brained idiot would like use that scenario to be like, look, like I'm vaccinated and even I got COVID and it sucks. Like, so like if you're not vaccinated, like go get vaccinated. If you're not boosted, go get boosted. And it won't be that because this could be worse if I wasn't vaccinated. But because that whole party just wants to fucking line up their lemmings to be torn asunder at the slaughter. They're just gonna fucking downplay it.
I mean, and look, you know, I posited two scenarios, and that was before this like wheeze fest that we saw of Ron DeSantis. But
I'd call him Weezer as a nickname, but it's besmirching the band, so I'm not.
Yeah, and they are terrible now. So like that's how bad Ron DeSantis is. It's like we won't even slam Weezer now. Jesus, everyone does. So we don't need to beat those guys up. I used to like them. So the issue here is like one of now 3 scenarios. Or I guess it's still really one of 2. One, this guy's wife doesn't really have cancer, and that was a lie for sympathy, which I don't think is actually true. I do think that she does have cancer. I don't think they're lying about that. I just want to point that out. I'm just positing 2 scenarios. Either they're lying about his wife not having cancer, or they are him and his wife, and I don't know his wife, so she's not in politics. He is. So I'll put it on him. He is so politically craven that he would put his wife's life in danger, who is on immunosuppressant drugs for chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think they're not lying about her actually needing chemo and being on, and fighting for her life, because that would be despicable. But the other option is, as her husband, you're a despicable piece of shit too, because you're willing to put your wife's life in danger for politics, which I do not understand, right? Like, Ron DeSantis went missing, right? Like, had he not shown up by the opening of this first episode, I for sure the episode image would have been him photoshopped into the Carmen Sandiego outfit, like 100%. I had already had it planned. I was like, this is what I'm going to
do. Where in Florida is Governor DeSantis?
Right. Where in the world? Like, he might just be gone. Like, you don't even know. Cuba's not that far. So they showed up after being like lambasted, and not so much to them, but him, like, hey, where are you? Where are you? You know, Florida's numbers are going through the roof. You guys aren't doing a lot of testing. Your Surgeon General is a lunatic. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, which is insane. Like, where are you, Ron DeSantis? You know, or shouldn't we be apologizing to you for your amazing COVID track record? But so he had been missing, right? He hadn't done a press conference, I think, since like the 17th of December. At this point, It was like December 30th when people were really like screaming about where the hell he was. And so then he shows up, him and his wife, at like, I don't know, some concert or whatever. I'm not really sure what it was, but they were clearly on stage. It like there were like drums and things in the background. It was like clearly some sort of music venue or something. And he's like, you know, we're going to fight this thing. We're going to get through it together and all this other stuff. But like, everyone on stage is not wearing a mask. It's a crowd of strangers, and the people behind him, like moving around, are not staff members. Like, they're people at this venue. None of them are wearing a mask. I assume the vast majority, if not all of the people probably in the crowd, are also not wearing masks. Because this is clearly a Republican event or Republican-friendly event. Thus, the reason why he's there. And his wife is also not wearing a mask. And I'm like, dude, like, she's doing chemo. Like, put a mask on near your wife. Like,
shows weakness. Don't be a slave to a piece of cloth, Jay.
Yeah, we gotta look. In the words of his, to paraphrase his Surgeon General, the local Florida Surgeon General, we gotta unwind this idea of federal testing, like just living based on whether or not I'm infected. Don't worry about testing. Don't worry about testing. Meanwhile, saying that, standing behind a lectern that says early prevention saves lives.
Early testing.
Pick one, dude. Like, are we testing or are we not testing? He's like, well, I'm getting tested. I'm not you people. Good luck.
To be fair,
man. What are you
he's
doing,
in the
Florida?
DeSantis administration, so the chances are high that he can't read. So that's probably why he was, he didn't realize what was on the lectern.
Who put this on here? Who put this on?
Yeah. Like he probably, I don't know where he got his doctorate from, but it probably wasn't like an actual school.
You know what? I was going to make
Trump University.
I was going to make a disparaging comment about where that would be, but I feel like I'd be mean to people unnecessarily. Like, I don't mean to like rope them in. Like, I'm just saying.
No.
Like,
Trump. He got his doctorate from Trump University.
Yeah, now that makes sense. But I am amazed. At like looking at, so, you know, Johns Hopkins in Maryland, where we are. They have done a great job of not kowtowing to like state of Maryland bullshit. Where like the state of Maryland is like, because we have a Republican governor, so, you know, you don't need to tell the truth about numbers. They're like, well, our positivity rate is pretty severe. It's 22%. And Johns Hopkins is like, no, it's not. It's 45%. Stop fucking lying. And like, they just put this shit out on their website. And look, I trust Hopkins because they're an independent organization. I don't trust Hogan, right? I don't. I absolutely don't. Especially his actions over the last couple of days. So I don't trust him to tell the truth. New Jersey was 80%.
Yeah.
80%. Dude, what the fuck? Come on, man. But meanwhile, Ron DeSantis is like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about testing. So yeah, look.
Yeah, we're good.
Like, this idea of sacrificing your constituents to seem tough, and also maybe sacrificing your wife's health. I mean, look, and like, no bullshit, I fucking can't stand Ron DeSantis. And if Ron DeSantis succumbs to the virus, I won't give a shit. Probably slightly laugh, if I'm being honest. I don't want nothing to happen to his wife, dude. She's not in politics. I don't want nothing to happen. That woman's battling cancer. I don't want anything to happen to her. And I damn sure don't want anything to happen to her based on like some stupid political nonsense that he's pulling. That's ridiculous.
I mean, if Ron DeSantis died because of COVID, like the entire first hour of the show would just be a crap rave. Probably. I can't imagine that we would
likely
we'd be able to do anything else, right?
No, it would just be the underbed for the first hour. Even when we're talking about other things, it would still be Crab Ray playing.
Like Jay would literally change the background of the show to just
it would just be
like Crab Ray.
That's a great idea, actually. Cue
that shit up for notable deaths in the Republican Party.
That's not bad. I'm not upset by that. just that fucking image.
Like I said, just 1000% ensuring that you and I will never have a career in politics in any way.
Oh no, 100%. Like, look,
now there's video proof that we should be allowed nowhere near.
No, please. Look. If a shitty wrestler who got, as Andy said, that you could go see for $25 and a hot dog, is running for state governor or state government, surely we could. But yeah, look, I'm not. That Ron DeSantis thing really, like, him not showing up is one thing. You having like the dereliction of duty to your wife who's going through cancer is like a different level of politics. I can't wrap my head around that. Like, if I was in office, and I don't care if I was a governor or the president, if my wife's safety was involved and it's like, nah, dude, you can't wear a mask, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Like, dude, no, it's your wife, yo.
This party is
weird.
Basically the direction of the party among many things, but like they will scorch the earth just so they can fucking rule the ashes at the end of the day. Like they don't give a shit. Like it's by any means necessary for them.
Yeah,
power is the goal.
Power is the goal, but it's also like power is the goal, and you're right. Like they are willing to scorch the earth to kind of like, I want to be the last president, not the next president, the last one. Right? They're totally okay to do that, and it's weird. It's like. You are succumbing to a situation now that the midterms are not as guaranteed because you've lost so many of your people.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't wish this. I truly don't. You know, like I would tell you if I'm being an asshole. Like I'm being 100% straight here. We quite literally could have a situation. There's another variant on the rise. It's called IHU. I don't know if it's going to be as serious as Omicron or Delta or any of the other ones. I don't know. They don't know yet, right? But it's one that's in France right now. So the chances of it making it here are probably pretty high. And it's incredibly transmissible. So the thing is, we only need one more of these variants to be like super, super brutal towards the unvaccinated. And they're in a world of trouble, man. They're in a world of trouble. Mm-hmm. Like Omicron seems to be incredibly transmissible, but not nearly as deadly as Delta was. If we get one that is both of those things, they're in a world of trouble, dude. They don't believe because they're definitely on that edge of like fuck masks forever kind of shit. They're definitely like, I'm not getting vaccinated, I'm not getting boosted, I'm not doing any of that. All right.
Like I said, everyone fucking forgets the portable morgues that were set up outside of fucking hospitals when this shit first kicked off and right. They were overwhelmed to capacity. Like you said, another thing like that could happen again. It's just like I said, it's just crazy to watch the direction of the party. It's not on the docket. But like Trump the other, couple days ago came out and endorsed Viktor Orban for re-election, noted fucking serious right-wing authoritarian in Hungary. And it's just crazy. Like the message. I mean,
that's who what's his name? Didn't Tucker Carlson go over there and like
spent a week over in Hungary? Talk about how fucking awesome Budapest was. But the thing that's kind of fucking, I'm
sure it's beautiful, but like authoritarianism, whatever.
But that's the thing is that like right wingers that are like Trumpists like look at the Orban blueprint as like what they aspire to be in America, and it's just fucking wild to see America looking at Hungary, and no shade on Hungary as far as its influence, right. But Hungary is not a big country in Europe. Like, it's not a major player
right.
on the fucking world scene. You shouldn't be looking at a fucking smallest country leader and be like, that's the kind of shit that we want over here. Like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to be the fucking US, man.
You're supposed to be leading, right? You're not supposed to be following. Right. And look, and like you said, that's not shading Hungary at all, but I totally understand your point. It goes back to what you just said. It's by any means necessary, right? Like They want power. They're like, this is a strong man that we like. This is a person who doesn't give a shit about the rules. They're just going to do whatever they want to do. That's what we want to implement, right? That's why weirdly, there's like that could be the only explanation for them having this like weird love of Vladimir Putin. Like Russia is America's number one enemy and has been, since at least in our lifetime,
since the end of World War II.
Right.
Yeah,
like during the Cold
basically.
War, right? And like, look, I mean, we literally sent our greatest boxer over there to defeat them. And he did.
It ended the Cold War single-handedly.
In an hour and a half.
All of like I said, all of
flies.
Sylvester Stallone's characters ended hostilities with Russia between Rocky IV and Rambo 3. Sylvester Stallone did it single-handedly.
He did. And then he gave a shout out to like the Mujahideen in that movie, which was a problem.
I mean, that was the time. That was the time.
I mean, hey, what are you gonna do? Enemy of my enemy. Go Mujahideen. This will definitely age well. Fuck. So yeah, it's but it is curious. Like that's the only explanation you can have for them loving Putin so much is that they see a strong man and authoritarian, and they're like, I want that because I want a daddy.
Yeah,
that's what they want. All right. I don't really have a clever segue. A local Cro-Magnon woman gets banned from Twitter. Marjorie Taylor Greene gets her personal, that's important to say, her personal account on Twitter perma-banned. Twitter had previously issued a short-term suspension for Greene's account and calling it misleading when she tweeted things about COVID. So she did it again. She did like a 19-part like tirade craziness, and they were just like, I've seen enough.
That diatribe was pretty fucking out there. In case I don't know if you got to catch any. Yeah, I don't know if you got to catch any highlights of that, but yeah, it was. I mean, I'm sure you can find it somewhere if you're looking at it. But like, she was referring to like Democrats as like termites, which is a term that has really fucking loaded like implications behind it and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So in the words of Michael Scott, fool me once, strike one. Fool me twice, strike three.
What am I to say here, Brad?
Why did it take him this long? Why did it take him this long? She got five cracks at it before they finally dropped the proverbial ban hammer.
Yes.
On her.
I mean, yes, that's true. Her official account is still up. So she can still, say, lame shit. And I'll get back to that because it's a clever thing that the right wing does with these accounts. Very clever.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about it in a moment. But I do want to point out, and I think this is a thing we should talk about, is in 2022, I think we all should make a decision to learn what the First Amendment is so we can stop fighting over the same stupid argument. This is not a violation of the First Amendment. I
gotta tell you, Jay, I have never seen more preaching to a giant choir than you are doing right now. Who are you hoping to sway with this fucking argument?
I just think that we should all come together on this. I think we should all be able to come together on understanding the First Amendment of the Constitution. I don't know. And also reading all of the second. I'm just saying, just to throw that in, all of it. Read
as I said to you on Twitter when you posited this plea forward. Bro, we've been at this for 230 years plus at this point. I don't know what magic bullet you think you're going to be able to
Come
shoot
on, man. You got to
the
believe,
Nimrods
man.
to-
You got to believe. You got to believe.
Nope. my New Year's resolution: double down on cynicism. Let's go, baby.
Double down on cynicism. That's not bad. It's not bad. It's true. Look, I told you my whole thing is it's not New Year, new me. It's New Year, more focused me. Like if you thought I was an asshole in 2021, just wait. Like, yeah, no, I'm not. I ain't changing. I ain't fuck that. No, I'm old now, man. Like the time for changing was 10 years ago. This dough is set. This rotten cookie is the way it is.
JD Vance went online to talk about how we must kill these companies, which is the most communist thing I've heard any politician say really ever. That's not a communist or not alleged communist, comrade.
Yeah.
And fucking poor. So like this, it's almost sad to be at this point. So like Kevin McCarthy's coming up there. He's like, you got Twitter setting up there. They're banning Donald Trump. They're banning Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, we're going to get him when we take back Congress. I'm like, Kevin McCarthy, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a backbench freshman congressperson. You are the leader of the Republican Party in the House of Representatives. Why are you carrying her water, dude? Like, are you really that irrelevant that some backbench bitch is gonna be fucking telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing?
Dude,
yes.
Do you not? Do you? Yeah, he is. Look, do you not remember when they had that meeting and he was like, "You get in here, talk to you." And she was just like, and walked out. She doesn't respect him. This is his way of trying to win back over the nutters who support her. That's all it is, and it's pathetic. Look, I'd be like, "Oh, she got banned." It's a private organization, man. That's not. Look, I think it's a shame. I really wish they wouldn't do that. At the same time, what you want me to do, bro? It's private business. They're allowed to do that. I find it hilarious, and like in so many ways, that Republicans are shocked to know that they are not allowed to say the most abhorrent shit on social media, and not get banned. How long have we been doing this? I mean, like Kevin McCarthy's statement of like, we're gonna make them pay when we get back in power. Yo, Twitter banned Trump when he was president, and you didn't do shit. You were in charge when he got banned, right? Like I know, it was a lame duck session. You still have power. You could have tried to pass something. You could have done an executive order. He could have done like whatever. He didn't, because they know that doesn't. That like all that running your mouth nonsense doesn't pass the constitutional muster. The second that made it to the Supreme Court would be like, "What do you want us to do about this?" No, it's a private business, dude. They can reject you for no shoes, no shirt, no service. Like that's on the front of a McDonald's door. Okay, like they don't have to let you in. So they come up with their rules, and if they want to let you in, they can. If they want to keep you off, they can. It's not that hard. Look. All these psychos are on Parler or Getter or Frank or whatever, and they say whatever they want. The reason why they can say that is because those companies have rules that you can just say whatever you want on their platforms, which is why they're not as popular.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a fact.
And that's the reason they care so much is because, and this is so fucking funny to me. I can't begin to tell you how tickled it makes me to just think about this concept of it. The reason that they get so mad on Twitter is or about being banned from Twitter, I should say, is because for them, Twitter's an incredibly powerful tool. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene would not be in Congress if it wasn't for Twitter. So
no, 100%. That's absolutely true.
So
absolutely true.
Like you mentioned, they have Parler, they have Getter, they have whatever, all this other bullshit that they fucking have. But she knows
put some respect on Frank. Is Frank real? I don't know.
Who cares? But she knows that not being on Twitter is going to dent her power to some extent, which is a wild thing to say for someone who's literally in Congress right now. Like she has platform to get her message out that a percentage of Americans have available to them. And she's mad about Twitter because that's how powerful Twitter is to her. Look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump gets banned from Twitter. He started a fucking WordPress. And now the only time you hear from him is when some mealy-mouthed statement comes out that gets reposted on Twitter. Like you only see it when someone reposts like the fucking tweet that he writes on his blog that someone picks up and puts out there. And it's sad. Like it's fucking sad coming out on this, Trump stationary fucking letterhead that he posted on.
Right.
Like it's some declaration from the mountaintop.
Right. here, I have these tablets. Take them down to the people. But it is interesting, right? Like that idea that Twitter is the reason she's popular. Twitter is the reason why she sustains, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. She's in Congress. You can like write bills. Like
Donald
Trump was
Trump
president.
was literally the president when he got banned from Twitter. And you know what we heard from him for the last week that he was in office? Not a damn thing.
That's interesting, right? Like that's a
damn
super
thing.
That's a super interesting thing about all of this is that for them, you're absolutely right. Twitter is more powerful than being in office. Like the idea is you use Twitter to boost up your whatever your particular bona fides is, right? Your conservative bona fides, right? And then you get into office, and just by the sheer notion of being in Congress, you gain more followers, right? It's like, well, they're a congressperson, so, and they're a nut job, so like, let all these people subscribe to them. But then they don't use the power of actual Congress. They just weaponize the larger platform that they have. Like that's a fascinating point. Trump has always been much more dangerous as this big person on Twitter than he ever was as president. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a bit of an overstatement. Like obviously because he can, he could affect
in the public
sphere, right? In the public sphere of like moving shit. He really did more damage. I mean, think about it. People were much more afraid that we were going to get into a nuclear war with North Korea because of the shit he tweeted than any of his policies, right? Yeah. Because he didn't really have any policies. And Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't have any policies.
No, she just yells online all day.
Right.
It's literally her job.
So this idea of, and this goes back to what I've said for a long time, which is these people are just bomb throwers, right? Mm-hmm. Like, even though I think there are people on the left who are bomb throwers, and for new listeners, that I don't mean I'm not equating them to terrorists. That's not my point. But I mean just like literally just like I'm just throwing out, just like wild shit to say, just to get people riled up. It's obviously less of that on the left, but even the ones who are the more famous bomb throwers are also policy wonks. Like that's the thing. Like on the right, they just throw bombs and that's all they do. Like AOC's a bomb thrower, right? Like in that regard, right? Like she's going to throw some fucking Hail Marys that are going to fucking stick to people on social media. She is. And she's really super good at it, but she's a policy person too. Like you can be like, all right, cool. You said a bunch of like stuff to get us all riled up. Where are your policies, AOC? And she's like, they're right here. All of them. And you're like, oh, okay, that's valid. You asked Marjorie Taylor Greene that, she's like, yo, I didn't even read the Green New Deal that was 14 pages. I got time for that. Like, so they're not even equipped to fight on a congressional level either.
Not only that, but like if you look at AOC when she tweets nowadays, like she spins everything back to policy. Like when she's talking about stuff, like everything gets tied back to what she's trying to advance in Congress, or it's like a clip of, what she was like a speech that she gave on the floor, or testimony that she gave, or not testimony, but questioning that she did from a committee chair and that kind of stuff. That's the big difference. Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene just being mad on the internet, like that's literally her brand, is just mad online.
Right. So. And it's that whole idea of like, you can't find any policies for Madison Cawthorn, aka Tad. You can't find anything for Marjorie Taylor Greene or what's her face? Your girl, Lauren Boebert. You can't find it. You can't find it for any of them, right? Like the idea is they are there to just strictly be bomb throwers. They don't give a shit about policy. They don't give a shit about anything else. All they care about is how do I get people riled up on my side to either come out and vote or call or just get mad online, right? Like they're mad online and they just want other people to be mad online. Like that's really all it is. What has Madison Cawthorn ever done like policy wise? Nothing, dude.
He literally has never done anything.
Nothing. And he never will. Right? He never will because he's a useless piece of shit besides getting people who agree with him already riled up. Like like when Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, I want to have a debate with AOC, and people are like, yeah, they should do it. Why? What are they going to fucking talk about? Hey, I've got these policies. Well, I don't. So there you go. Like, you got nothing, dude. So you argue policy to policy. That's one thing. Arguing policy to a bunch of conjecture is nonsense. It makes no sense. So, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene getting permabanned off of Twitter is not sad. It is fine.
Yeah. And again, you're not, people are like, oh, it's so bad. Like, you should, like, you're taking, it's, I don't think companies should do that. Like, yeah, they fucking should. Like, why should a company allow their platform to be a vessel for the misinformation that she's spreading? Why should they be obligated to allow that just because you have some misconstrued view of what free speech is supposed to be?
Right. Yeah. It's not on Twitter. It's not on Twitter at all to do that. Frankly, your earlier point, I think, stands. What the fuck took you so long? All right, let's move right into one of my favorite subjects, subpoenas. So the good folks up there in New York have decided that, it's about time that maybe they subpoena Donald Trump and his two eldest children. What did you call him? King Deadlift or something like that.
Yes.
Donald Trump.
Well,
Jr.
you were trying to hand the douche canoe nickname onto someone else, and I was like, I can't believe you're erasing Donald Trump Jr. like this. the original douche canoe.
I mean, he is. And Ivanka Trump, they are subpoena Tish James specifically, the Attorney General of New York, and friend of the show, fan favorite, boss ass woman. She's subpoenaing the three of them for the financial probe in New York, basically to find out whether or not these three jackasses definitely were inflating and deflating the value of their properties to get loans, which I don't know if people know this is fraud, and I don't know if people know this is a crime. So like a pretty serious financial crime. So the question is, Brad, we have seen next to no like real hardcore work being done in the public eye against Trump in DC, right? Like we were like, oh, we're getting there. Merrick Garland's coming, everybody. You think that's going to be the same for New York? You think that's going to be the same for Tish James?
I mean, we've been saying that if you're going to see anything like punitively hit the family, it's going to be on a state level because they have no favors they can call in, no allies that can bat for them, no areas in, no judges that they appointed that they can lean on. Like, right. If it's a local New York investigation, you're dealing with fucking New York. And I don't think that's going to look too well for the Trump clan, assuming that we can find evidence of this stuff.
I mean, there is evidence, like hard financial evidence that has already been presented in the public. Like you said, this like Doral was worth X, and then like 2 years later, you said it was worth like Y, and they were wildly different numbers. Like they weren't even close.
Like, what did you do? We put in a new garden out front, tended to by very legal, very perfect immigrants, and I don't even know what they think my lovely Ivanka would do anything wrong. And the other one, Donald Jr., he doesn't even have my phone number. When you saw on January 6th, when I was watching The Great Patriots, and they're very great, going into the Capitol to save democracy, he didn't text me. He had to text Mark Meadows. And Mark Meadows probably didn't have my phone number either, because I don't even know who that guy is. We didn't talk very often. So clearly he has no evidence. It's a giant witch hunt. Much like we called it the Russia hoax, this is the New York hoax, and we'll see what happens.
That's crazy accurate. Like, it's crazy accurate. I love how like you have to bring up a previous thing, like a previous nickname, and then assign that to the same nickname. Like, that's the thing he does. It's so fucking weird. The only thing you miss, Brad, is misspeaking and then saying that again, but saying "and" as if you meant to say it. It's super fucking weird. He can never admit to being wrong. It's so bizarre.
Nope.
So yeah, look, I think you're largely correct. That New York is probably the best place that anything is going to happen to these guys. The question is this fraud enough to like throw them in jail? I don't know, because I don't know the sort of I don't know the readout of like that sort of financial fraud. I'll take 5 years. You think Trump's going to last 5 years in prison, in like real prison? Nah, I don't think so.
It'd be pretty great.
Look,
Pretty
I'm
awesome.
even okay putting Trump in jail for 5 years at a nice prison. The fact that he goes to prison is enough
Right.
for me. Like, yo, he's like what, 74?
Yeah, we wouldn't have to hear from him. He couldn't run for president again. He'd probably die. I'm like he can't have his normal regimen of Diet Coke and Big Macs in jail. Like, he's gonna get fucking like actual healthy food, and that'll probably kill him.
Yeah. What is this? Carrots? Jesus Christ. What am I doing? Yeah, no, I think it's I think I would love for them to be like, yo, we're hitting you with like 350 years, like Bernie Madoff style. Like, that's fine.
We'll see, but that's the thing is that as you've pointed out so eloquently, like, Elizabeth Holmes is going to get the book thrown at her because she defrauded other rich people.
Yep.
He unless you can point to him directly defrauding other wealthy people, like, you're not going to see the same vitriol to chase after them. So
No. Oh no, dude. Elizabeth Holmes is getting the fucking book thrown at her ass.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
she took like $900 million. They gonna light her ass up, dude. It's like, oh, she get $20 for every like wire fraud charge. She getting all of those, dude. I guarantee you, she's getting at least 40 to 60 years in prison. I guarantee you, dude. And look, she's a wackadoo person and everything. And like, that documentary, I need to watch it again, is wild. Like, it's super wild. Like, she did that voice. I'm trying to sound more serious. I'm like, dude, stop, please. You're so crazy. But she don't deserve 80 years in prison. Like, no. But she defrauded rich people, and they're gonna throw the fucking book at
Yeah.
her. Dude.
Someone posted on Twitter, like, sum up the American justice system in 2 sentences. The first one was Elizabeth Holmes, crime, defrauding of investors, guilty. Second charge, defrauding of clients, not guilty. Like, it's just like, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, did you as a rich person, you shit on poor people? Nobody gives a fuck about that. You shit on rich people?
Yeah.
Nah, that's the name of the game. If you are going to be rich and defraud people, only defraud your clients. Never defraud your investors. Never. Your goal is to steal money from your clients to give to yourself and your investors. Then you're fine. You'll be fine. You steal from rich people and you're rich, it's not enough to save you. And you're poor and you steal from rich people, there's nothing to save you. So, nah, that's the name of the game. People fuck up with that. Like, you like, oh, I only stole a candy bar, but I'm poor. Yeah, I know, but you stole from a convenience store, and they have more money than you. You going to jail. Like, you going to jail. Like, oh, I'm a big time investor, and I stole millions of dollars in insurance from like poor people. You learned your lesson. You're fine. Get out of here. Beat it. So yeah. Look, I hope Tish James in the New York Attorney General's office kick them in their teeth. We don't know what happens, but it's pretty obvious that they broke the law. They will, of course, do their stall technique, which is sue, take it to the next court, next court, until people just get tired, and then they're just like, fuck it, let them go. Nah, fuck that. I mean, Letitia James even says that. Like, nah, you're not just going to run the clock out. Like, no.
Like I said, and I really do hope that if a case moves against them, that it does slam up against like the election window, because it's like, say what you will, it's gonna be fucking hard to stand trial for this shit and run for president simultaneously. Like that's not an easy thing to do, and it could seriously take him out of the equation if he's forced to be dealing with this in a serious capacity.
Yeah, I mean, look, the goal here is to try and get this guy or one of his kids, like, get them in the limelight enough to be talking about this shit constantly, right? Because like you said, that doesn't look good for any of them. But ultimately, I mean, sure, putting them in jail would be great, right? Like, we'll see what happens. But ultimately, you could knock out all three of these motherfuckers from ever holding political office. You could. Like, you could be like, fraud, done. Federal or state fraud crime, like serious state fraud crimes. That's enough for Republicans to be like, nah, yo, we're not dealing with you guys anymore. Fuck that. We can't afford it.
Would it be enough?
All right.
You're talking about this Republican Party. This ain't exactly the fucking party of Nixon here.
Yeah, this ain't your mom's party. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I'd like to think. How about that? Maybe that should be my statement for 2022.
Yeah.
I'd like to think. But you're still going with 2022 double down on cynicism.
2020 cynicism, baby. Let's go.
2020 cynicism. Yeah, it's I mean, you're not wrong. But I'd like to think that it would be enough of a poison pill to wreck their shit. So we'll see. Here's hoping. Here's another thing I'm hoping on. Chuck Schumer tees up a vote on a rules change if the voting rights legislation is blocked. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer out of New York, obviously, has vowed that the Senate will forge ahead on voting rights legislation and will vote on changing the rules of the upper chamber by January 17th if the GOP once again blocks the bill. Quote,
I hate this shit. Go ahead with the quote. And I'll tell you why I hate this shit. So.
Quote, we must adapt. The Senate must evolve like it has many times before. Let me read this last quote and then I'll push it to you. He says, quote, as former Senator Robert Byrd famously said, Senate rules must be changed to reflect changed circumstances. Put more plainly by Senator Byrd, quote, Congress is not obliged to be bound by the dead hand of the past. That's a badass quote, by the way. That's a great quote by Byrd. Like, that's awesome. Also, like, former KKK member who, like, changed his ways and was like, I was a piece of shit in my youth.
He came good in the end.
Yeah, he did. He did. Like, I know Republicans love to be like, he was a KKK member and give, like, no context to anything else because that's what they do, right? Like, truth with zero context. He was in the KKK. Finish the sentence. And then he reformed himself and was like really regretted and then endorsed Barack Obama for president. Yeah, but whatever. He was in it. Like, yeah, he was a piece of shit in his youth. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Like, you can call him out on that. And he changed his ways as an adult. That's what you should do as a person. I don't know. But that's the badass quote. I like that. Congress is not obliged to be bound by the dead hand of the past. That's a great quote. All right. What part of this do you hate, Brad? Why do you hate voting rights?
I hate I hate the song and dance because I don't know what the right thing for Chuck Schumer to do here is, because if you're positing this out there, it's to put public pressure on the Republicans who aren't going to vote for this shit. It's to put public pressure on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who probably aren't going to vote to overturn the filibuster. So what you're doing is getting a lot of people's hopes up. And then it's annoying because then we have to sit there and be gaslit by Republicans who somehow tell us that this is way different than when we change the rules to get less Supreme Court justices through.
Right.
Votes.
Yo, Mitch McConnell was like, yo, we've never done this. That was the first thing you did. You did it. It's amazing that they lie like that, dude. Yeah. This has never happened. Dude, 2017, you did it. And he was like, oh, in my shell. It's just like, what the fuck, dude? You did do that. That was different. It was for something I wanted. Oh, okay, Mitch. No problem. Fuck off.
So, like I said, that's the shit that drives me nuts about this. And again, I'm not optimistic that anything's going to happen here because Joe Manchin's come out before and said that he wants a voting rights bill to be truly bipartisan. I don't see how putting this to a vote again, even though he co-sponsored the bill, is good, and seeing the Republicans vote it down is going to be like, well, I'm convinced. Like, let's get rid of the filibuster for this, for at least voting rights. You know what I mean? Like he's not doing that shit. And then Kirsten Sinema.
I was going to ask, what is her
Sinema's
reasoning exactly?
Her reasoning is that if we do this now and the Republicans get back in power, they're going to do something stupid too. In the same vein with the rules that we created. To which I say, okay, fine. Like, then don't let Republicans get back in power. A great way that you can make sure that happen is passing voting rights legislation. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's not that hard to fucking get.
I don't mean to be super mean. All right, no, that's not true. All right, who am I? Right, it's 2022. I'm not a new person. I'm me. That woman's a fucking idiot. She's an idiot.
Yeah.
She's an idiot. She's either an idiot or a liar, and I think a bit of both, right? Like a bit of both.
Yeah.
You do know that when the shit hits the fan, you're the first to go, right? Right? Like, Democrats can't wait to vote your ass out. Republicans will vote you out no matter what the fuck you do. You're not their friend. Right. Like, what do you think? You're going to switch parties?
That's the other
No.
Yeah. She's banking on somehow there being like an incredible moderate base of support to draw from in Arizona. And I mean, Arizona's a purple state. I get that. But you might not make it out of a primary. Like there's so much I
don't think she does. I don't think she makes it out of her primary.
Right.
No fucking way. No way.
So,
nah.
I don't know. It's nuts to me. Now, what I'm hoping, my biggest gleam of hope for this is that we're not necessarily a filibuster carve out, but I do think that there could be very potentially filibuster reform. Like, we might see a change to the filibuster rules to force, like I think the best version would be like forcing, 40 Republican senators to fucking be there all the time to stop a vote from to stop debate from ending. The other option would be like the talking filibuster, where you have to hold the lectern basically to prevent it from happening. So
that's mine. Like, if you're going to reform
either one's fine for me.
No. Yeah. I want you to look. Both are good. But frankly, like, I am more than okay with you want to, like, one, you don't get to just like do the shit anonymous. You got to get up and be like, yo, I filibustered this shit, and let me tell you why. Right? Talk about.
See, you say that, but I don't necessarily need Ted Cruz getting up and reading like Horton Hears a Who.
No. But that's everybody. What I was going to say. No, I'm not hearing that. You got to talk about the relevant bill that you're filibustering. None of this bullshit. You got to talk about. This is a serious place. This is where laws are happening. You don't get to fucking like wax poetic about bullshit. Talk about the thing that you're against and why. Democrats are going to steal our election by giving more people access to voting. Right? That was obviously not on the docket because, we missed 2 weeks, but like Rand Paul, it's not fair. What they're doing is they're giving people ability to vote and then going in there and convincing them to vote for them.
I totally forgot about that. Rand Paul, Democrats steal elections by encouraging voting to happen. Like, wow. Like, someone.
You're right,
someone
Rand.
Like living in a democracy, apparently.
No, he does not. He doesn't. Well, he's a libertarian. I mean, just.
Well, like I said, like his belief is that only white landowning men should be voting. Jay, that's it. Just like the
as you do. Let me see if I can find my favorite. It's so far, it's my favorite tweet of the year. I sent it to you and Andy.
You did,
yes. This is my favorite tweet of the year.
I know what you're talking about.
This is right now. This is top tweet for 2022. We'll see if it can be dethroned. 2 novels can change a 14-year-old's life: Lord of the Rings and Atlas Shrugged. One is a fantasy that engenders a lifelong obsession with its unbelievable heroes, leading to an emotionally stunted, socially crippled adult unable to deal with the real world. The other has orcs. This is a good tweet, man. It's good. But like, it's true. Libertarianism is stupid, and it should be poked fun at all the time. All the time.
It is in fact our obligation to make fun of libertarians. Just point and laugh at them as if you're Nelson Muntz.
Yeah. Look, Dave, what's his name? Not David Ayer. What's the guy who wrote the Wire?
David Simon.
David Simon. That's like, if you follow David Simon on Twitter, if you don't, you should. All he does is kick the shit out of libertarians all the time. He's like these people are fucking morons. Like, it's awesome. He is a fantastic follow. But yeah, if you are not a fan of libertarians, David Simon is a great Twitter follow. People are like, you don't know anything about libertarians.
If any libertarian if any libertarian ever tried to step to me, like, I would literally just point them to any libertarian primary debate in literally any presidential election over the past 20 years. Like, that's all you need.
We don't need seat belts. We don't need driver's licenses. These are your people, man, right here. These are the guys. These are the best of the best.
Supreme sitting up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vermin Supreme is your most qualified candidate in the Libertarian Party.
I mean, I would vote for him before I'd vote for any of those other lunatics. Like, he wears a boot on his head. Like, for God's sake. Next up, Sean.
Can you before we move on to this? Could you imagine the Vermin Supreme Lord Buckethead ticket? Wouldn't that be amazing? Do you know who Lord Buckethead is?
I do remember Lord Buckethead. Yes, that dude was awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about Sean Hannity.
Speaking of Supreme Bucketheads.
Yeah. That dude's head is fucking huge. So the House January 6th committee is in fact seeking his cooperation. They're not doing a subpoena on old Sean just yet. Spoiler alert, that's coming, because this douchebag is definitely not going to work with them. But they're trying to be nice. I don't really see the point. I don't. I would treat that dude like a fucking criminal, because he is. I'd be like, fuck you, dude. You're getting your ass subpoenaed. Like, who cares? Because, their boy Mark Meadows just gave up like 9,000 documents and was like, here you go. Here's all my talks with Sean Hannity over text message. And they were like, ooh, these are interesting. Sean, would you like to come in and talk about these? And of course he does.
Oh, you not. Don't? So what? Fine. We'll selectively leak them for the American public.
Yeah. And I like that. Fuck Sean
him.
Hannity. Yeah, fuck him. Right. And Sean Hannity's like, well, it's not fair. He went on his show and he was like, it's not fair that they leaked my private information. Does privacy not exist anymore? Adam Schiff, does it not exist? And it's like, dude, it doesn't exist because your boy gave you up. Like, he gave you up. Like, we didn't steal it. Like, he said that none of that shit was privileged.
We didn't get it. We didn't get it from the fucking cell phone company. Like, it's not like we subpoenaed the phone records.
Right. No, your boy was like, here you go. Like, like, if somebody shows you a copy of their phone where they're having a text message, like, they just showed it to you. Like, that's just is as public as it gets at that point.
Yep.
So yeah, he said, Sean Hannity had been messaging with Trump a number of times with Mark Meadows during January 6th. One of them, one of the texts was, quote, "We can't lose the entire White House counsel office. I do not see January 6th happening the way he is being told." That is very interesting. And there's a number of sort of interesting tweets and comments that Hannity made on January 6th. And the days following it. One of which being that Sean Hannity is clearly in the sort of inner circle of the Trump administration, right? Like Liz Cheney goes on to talk about that. Like, you clearly talked to Trump on January 5th and knew what they were planning to do on the 6th, right? Not necessarily the people attacking the Capitol, but like what they were planning on doing in Congress and all this other shit. Like, you clearly knew about that because you're kind of alluding to that in your messaging. There's a lot of this that is obviously fucked up and weird and should be investigated, right? One of the big things, though, that I don't think is talked about enough is that Hannity and a lot of these other Fox News people, Laura Ingraham and things like that, how much insight they have into this administration, and not even insight, like connection into this administration.
They were de facto advisors. Like the joke was that Sean Hannity was Trump's actual chief of staff kind of thing.
right?
In terms of him being in his ear and influence and how often he talked to him and that kind of shit. And it's wild to think about it because like I know a couple months ago when we talked about this to some extent, like think of how fucking weird it would be if we found out that like fucking Rachel Maddow was advising Joe Biden on,
Right.
on
that's
policy.
insane.
Like that would sound crazy.
And that he
It
was
doesn't
listening
sound
to
crazy.
her. And that he was listening, right? Not just like, hey, Joe, I'm like a couple of things. And he's like, all right, click. Right? Like, no, he's like, yeah, no, Rachel, that is a fucking plan. Absolutely. Let's do it. Like, that's weird.
Well, and Hannity's obvious, like, reasoning for not cooperating is going to be related around, well, I'm a journalist, so I shouldn't be, I have freedom of speech, freedom of press protection to have to do this. Number one, you're not being charged with a crime. Number two, if you are a journalist, you obviously have some knowledge on this amazing thing that's going to be happening on January 6th. You have the scoop of the century, like, sitting in your lap, and you don't report it? Like, that seems not right if you're a journalist, Sean Hannity.
Right. One, not a journalist. Not a fucking journalist.
By his own admission, by the way. In 2016, he says, I'm not a journalist, I'm a talk show host.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like, that's something he said.
Yeah. Well, he didn't go to journalism school. He didn't finish college, so nice try. Which, it's fine. But the other part is, like, if Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity and all of these other yahoos are de facto advisors for the Republican Party and for this Republican president, okay, then they don't need to be on the news. They don't need to be on the news.
Well,
quit that job.
I mean, you're being generous at calling what they do news, but
okay, that's fair. That's fair. Infotainment. Like small info, huge tainment, right? But like they don't need to be on television because what they are doing is they are advising someone. They are telling, and they have intimate knowledge of this information. Then they're going on television pretending like they're finding out just like you and me. They're not. And not in a like, hey, like I've got a source inside. No, like you're literally talking to the source, the fucking president. Or you're telling him do X, Y, and Z, and then commenting on whether this is a good idea or a bad idea. To me, there should be some regulation like FCC regulations. Like you can't do that and be on television. Cool, you're fired. You're done. Like that's unacceptable. But for some reason,
I mean, Fox News would have to have even a shred of journalistic integrity for that to happen, though.
Yeah, and they don't. And look, I don't know how, as a conservative, you can be like, yeah, they should definitely have fired Chris Cuomo and still be cool with this. What's the difference? Chris Cuomo was fired because he was being a de facto advisor to his brother, who is a fucking politician, the president of New York, in quotes, right? Like, and here you have Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham, and I believe another person as well. Oh, fucking Brian Kilmeade, right? Mm-hmm. All three of those people having intimate knowledge of what's going on and having a line directly to the president or directly to the chief of staff of the fucking president. But those people should stay in that job. If you are like, those three people definitely made negative comments about Chris Cuomo. Like, you should be fired too, dude. But again, there's no integrity. There's no standard. So all these people are like, yeah, I'm glad they fired Chris Cuomo. Cool. Are you cool with this? Oh, no, this don't count? All right, cool. No problem. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's hypocritical. Mm-hmm. So,
it is. But
yeah,
again,
no, Sean Hannity.
You'd have to expect. Yeah, you'd have to expect anyone on the right to do the correct thing in any situation, and that they're just not going to. Like, but again, that Fox News, this is to their benefit. They want to be not only reporting the agenda and getting the viewers, but also driving the agenda so that they can frame the narrative, basically. Yep. So
that's exactly right. So
yeah, it's an Ouroboros. It's an Ouroboros. Like I said, it just eats itself constantly. So
yep. Fuck that guy.
Yep.
Next up. Also, My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. Yeah, Mike Lindell. Yeah, he got his phone records pulled by the January 6th committee too. Yoink! How freaked out is that guy's coke dealer at this point? Right, like that guy's
crack dealer. Jay, let's get it.
I'm sorry.
More, let's be journalistically integrity ourselves and get it right the first
You're right.
time.
You're right. Crack dealer.
He's probably. I mean, he's probably pretty excited. I mean, he's about to make some sales, man. He's about to move some product.
I mean, hey, there's plenty of lunatics on the right who definitely would be cool with that. Like, yeah, no, that's our guy. We love him. Like that guy is nuts, right? Like he's not well.
Oh yeah. No, he's not well. Again, he's a pillow company owner that somehow has been vaulted into the upper echelon of Republican advisory politics.
Right.
And he's I don't know this for a fact. And it would be stupid to do it because he's probably making a shitload of money by selling pillows. I'd have to imagine that when the governor's race comes open in Minnesota, that he would probably run for that.
Oh my God.
I mean, you don't see that happening?
No, I do see that happening. I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm more lamenting about our democracy in and of itself. Like just that guy, that fucking guy. I don't think he'd win. I think he's too crazy.
I hope not. I mean, Minnesota's liberal enough, I think, to avoid voting for a fucking right-wing lunatic.
I mean, that being said,
but then again,
you never know.
They voted for Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, but he was like weirdly like middle of the road at the time. He
ran as an independent.
He hadn't fully gone off the deep end. Like he's well off the deep end now, but he hadn't fully gone off at that point. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.